Hello and Assalamualaikum to all of you, and in this video I am going to continue with your speaking test or the group discussion assessment. Okay, so in the previous video I have explained to you the format or how you are going to be evaluated later based on your group discussion. So in this video I am going to cover some of the techniques and also the phrases and the language, the vocabularies that you can use to help with your group discussion. Okay, so without further ado, let's take a look at what today's lesson is. So we are going to take a look at language functions and also strategies in discussion. Okay, before that, let me start with this quote by Robert Quillen. Discussion is an exchange of knowledge, an argument, an exchange of ignorance. So in this case, we need to be able to distinguish between what is discussion and what is an argument. So an argument is actually an exchange of ignorance. So when you argue, it's usually because one side needs to win the argument. However, when it comes to discussion, it is more of an exchange of knowledge or information. So this technique, later in the group discussion, the techniques that we are going to learn will help you to be a good person in discussion. Okay, so we don't want to argue, we just want to discuss. Right? So in discussion, what are the things that you are going to learn is that first, to use appropriate language functions to initiate discussion. Number 2, to use tactful strategies in discussion. Number 3, to use appropriate expressions in discussion. And number 4 is to use appropriate turn taking and how to interrupt appropriately. Okay, so this is the difference between argument and also discussion. In having a discussion, it requires for you to apply certain techniques and to say certain phrases or words. Okay, so usually for me personally, I think the people who argue as compared to discuss, it is because they don't know how to discuss properly. Okay, so they only know how to argue. So and Alhamdulillah, it's because you are going to learn how to discuss. Okay, so when you are able to discuss, when you learn these strategies, then you will be hopefully a better person and also a better communicator, right? Okay, so why do you learn group discussion? It helps to train yourself to discuss and argue about any topic given. It helps to express your views on serious subjects and and informal situation. It improves your thinking, listening, and also your speaking skills. So in discussing, you are required to think, to listen, and to speak at the same time. Okay, so why is effective discussion skills very important? It is important when you provide critical feedback, whether in a personal or professional situation. So more often than not, you will be asked to give a feedback. Okay, and it also strengthens your reputation and builds your credibility. It shows character, maturity, professionalism, and also integrity. So when you're able to discuss properly, appropriately, then it shows your strength, your character, your character building. And it also demonstrates good manners, and you'll get noticed for the right reasons. This can lead to career opportunities. So in career-wise, so working in organization, we don't want people who likes to argue. We want people who we can discuss with, have a talk, not an argument. And it helps to avoid conflict, find common ground, and allow others to save face. So this is very important, especially in social setting, whereby you don't want when you're having an argument, one side will obviously lose face, and it could lead to a quarrel or more serious feud. Okay, so we don't want that. We want a calm, a peaceful discussion. All right. Okay, so how to do all that? First, especially in your test, when you are sitting in a group, obviously you have to initiate the discussion or you have to start the discussion, right? Okay, so how to start the discussion? One of you can say these words like, first, let's begin with, let's start with, we are here to discuss about, and then you can mention what is the topic that you are going to discuss. All right. Okay, so and when you want to tell other people what are the things that you're thinking about, you can say these words. As far as I'm concerned, I don't believe that. I don't think, in my view, I think, in my opinion, as far as I know. So this is only an example, and in the notes, I will provide you with the notes, and in the notes you can find more phrases that you can use, memorize, and then use it in your group discussion later on. Okay, so that is how you start or initiate the discussion. Now, let's take a look at another quote. I must respect the opinions of others even if I disagree with them. So disagreement is very common when you are having a discussion, and we don't really meet people who share the same opinion as we do. And it's very rare that we find people who agrees with us. However, if even if we disagree with other people, there's no need for you to make enemy out of it. Okay, so you need to be able to respect other people's opinion, even though it contradicts your own idea. So how to do that? Now, these are some of the expressions that you can use to show agreement and disagreement. Okay, so when you agree with somebody or some ideas, you can say that I must admit that I totally or partly agree. I agree with you. You could be right. That's right. Exactly. It seems to me that. Okay. Or if you disagree with people, you can say I don't agree with you. I don't believe. I wouldn't say that. I don't think so. I don't agree at all. That's wrong. That can't be right. Okay, now, other than using the right words to show disagreement, you need to use the right intonation as well. When you disagree with people, you cannot use a high intonation. For example, I don't agree with you. I don't believe you. I don't think so. Okay, so that is what leads to an argument. So how you can show disagreement is by using a low and calm note or calming voice. For example, I don't agree with you. I don't believe that. That's wrong. That can't be right. Okay? So the intonation plays a very important role in expressing your opinion, in also having a peaceful discussion with others. Alright? Because people are very sensitive towards tone. So be very careful with that. Okay. Next, you can also ask for clarification. So how to ask for clarification? What do you think? What is your opinion? What do you mean? Again, when you are asking these things, asking for using these words, you need to be very mindful of your intonation. Okay, do not use a high intonation when you are having a discussion with anybody. Okay, or you can say, would you like to say something? Could you provide an example? Can you explain your point? Okay, calming voice, right? A very neutral tone. Okay, next, how to interrupt politely. You can say, I am sorry, but may may I add something, or can I add something? Sorry to interrupt, but alright. So the calming, friendly intonation actually helps a lot in controlling the tone or the mood of the discussion. Okay. And next is turn taking. So in discussion, obviously, you are not the only one who's going to talk. Avoid being the only one who talks, which means that you dominate the discussion. We don't want a person who dominates the whole discussion. Okay, so make sure that everybody has some sort of equal opportunity for them to speak their mind. So turn taking is a term for the manner in which conversation normally takes place one after the other. Okay, so here are some turn-taking strategies that you can use. Speak and then you ask. Okay, use conjunctions. Use phrases for agreeing or disagreeing, asking for and giving opinions, fillers for pauses, which means that when you pause, instead of going silent, you can say these words. Let me say, let me think. The thing is, what I mean is, okay, so instead of going silent when you pause, sometimes we pause to think, right? So instead of just going silent, you can use this. And other next strategy is avoiding interruptions. Okay, and next, fluency over accuracy. So keep corrections to a minimum. So when you misspoke or if you have a slip of a tongue, so instead of keep correcting it, I'm sorry, you just go ahead and then present your opinion. I think people can understand a few slip of a tongue, right? Okay, so that is how you initiate or you start the discussion, right? Next, after you have had the discussion, you agree, disagree, you ask for opinions, you ask for clarifications, and then you give your opinion, and then you explain to others why do you agree or why do you disagree. So that is the whole discussion. Next, at the end of the discussion, before you end it, you need to come up with a closing strategies or the conclusion. So how to conclude the discussion. Okay, so here are some of the objectives that you're going to learn: to apply appropriate closing strategies, to evaluate and summarize opinions, and to present your conclusion. Okay, so remember, if when you have a discussion, you cannot leave the discussion hanging without any decision. You need to have a decision. Whether you agree or disagree, most of the time we just go with the majority. Okay, so here are some of the strategies that you can use to end the discussion. Okay, after listening to everyone's opinions and suggestions, it can be decided that what is the solution. Taking everything into consideration, I believe that we have come to the end of our discussion. That brings us to the end of our discussion. Okay, alright, so after you have mentioned that you are going to end the discussion, here are some of the strategies that you can use to evaluate and summarize your opinions. Okay, some of the expressions that you can use is that convince me, okay, you have persuaded me to change my mind, I can agree with you, I used to think, right, I see differently now, okay, I view differently now. Actually, I changed my mind. Okay, after listening to everyone's suggestion, I am of the opinion that, okay, now that you see that the majority, for example, has a different opinion than you, then you can use these phrases to indicate that you have changed your mind. Or you can say that, okay, even though that I have a different opinion, since the majority agrees that point A is the best solution or the most suitable solution for this issue, then we can all agree that the best way for this issue or the best solution for this issue is point A, for example. Okay, so that is how you can end the discussion. Now, how to conclude the whole discussion? Alright, so before you end, you can conclude that, in conclusion, the purpose of the discussion, okay, we have concluded that, so what is the decision? So all in all, we have reached a consensus that, okay, in summary, we are of the opinion that, in short, last but not least, alright, so here are some of the phrases that you can use to indicate that you are going to summarize the whole discussion. Okay, here are some more. So you don't have to memorize everything. You just memorize as many as you can and then use it in the discussion. Not just for this assessment, not just for your speaking test for ELC151, but you can use the same technique for muat. And later, even if you're working later in when you work in an organization, you can also use this whenever you have a discussion with anybody. You can always use this. Okay. All right. Okay. So here are some of the phrases that you can use to include. Okay. In conclusion, all of us agree that, in summary, we are at the point. We are at the opinion that. All right. Okay, as I explained to you, you can go to YouTube and search for Moet speaking tests and focus on part B, or the discussion part, right? Because part A is individual presentation and that is for Moet format. However, for ELC151, you are only going to be tested on the discussion part, alright? Okay, so you can also go to this link and you can just Google, and you can see that there are a lot of useful expressions to help you to enhance your discussion skill. Even if you have this book, normally we have a textbook, but due to ODL reasons, this semester you are not required to buy a specific textbook. Let's say in case if you have this from your seniors or from your brothers or sisters, you can actually refer to these pages, and these are some of the notes and some of the phrases that you can use to help with your discussion skill. Even if you don't have the book, it's okay, because there are a lot of phrases and examples that you can use over the internet. You can watch YouTube, you can actually just Google it away, and there are a lot of notes to help you with your discussion skills and strategies. Okay, for now, I think that is all. So I've taught you about the format for your speaking test, and then how to first initiate the discussion, and then how to ask for opinions, how to show agreement and disagreement over others, and other important part is to make sure that you have turn-taking skills. You need to be able to let other people speak their opinion, and at the end of the discussion, show some strategies on how to close the discussion and how to summarize the whole discussion. And obviously, don't forget, at the end of the discussion, you should say thank you to everyone. Okay, so that is to indicate that your discussion has come to an end. Alright, so here are some of the practice. It's okay, I don't want you to submit any practice. I just need you to read it and then just have it in your mind, some of the practice that you can do. So other than that, you can actually go to the internet and look for the sample situation, and then you can ask your friends together with you and your group members to practice together. Okay, and then make sure that you adhere to the time limit, that is 8 minutes for 3 people and 6 minutes for 2 people. Okay, so I think that is all for this session in this video. I hope that you can study more. Actually, just listening to this video lecture probably is not going to be enough. So you need to study the notes that I give you, and also you need to practice. Okay, actually the practice part is the most important part. Alright, so thank you very much. Assalamualaikum, and inshallah I'll see you again in the next video. Thank you. Bye.